Give us a few minutes. We're just setting up. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be using the microphones to actually like for them to hear us. All right, I think we're ready. Hi, everybody. This meeting is now called to order at 5:36 p.m. Madam Secretary, can you please call roll?
Certainly. Hugo Alvarado, Commissioner.
Present.
Carlos Jose Barrera, Commissioner.
Present.
Jason Gavilanes, Commissioner.
Present.
Raul Velasco, Vice Chair.
Present.
And David Heredia, Chair.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Chavez, can you please lead us in the invocation? Thank you. And let's see, Commissioner Gavilanes, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. Please stand. Oops. Place your right hand over your heart, please. And now begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Madam Secretary, was the agenda posted according to state law?
It was posted according to law.
Okay, thank you. And this is a time given to the public to speak on agenda and non-agenda items. Were any comments received?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion from a commissioner on approving the minutes of the meeting on December 7th, 2022.
I'll first motion.
I second the motion.
Thank you. And Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote?
I'm sorry, but Commissioner Gavilanes, you weren't present at that meeting, so I'll need somebody else to second the motion. And then just for the records, there's a typo on the agenda. Those minutes are for the December 6th commission meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Can I go ahead and second that motion? And
I'll do roll call.
thank you.
Commissioner Carlos Jose Barrera,
Yes.
Vice Chair Raul Velasco,
Yes.
and Chair David Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we're going to go to our first item on the agenda, the traffic safety analysis. And Ms. Chavez, can you please give us the details?
I'll repeat what I said and the audio was off. I apologize. Good evening, Chair and members of the commission. The item before you is a request for the installation of speed humps on Colmar Avenue from Loveland Street to Lubeck Street. And I'll turn that over to our city engineer, Doug Benas, to provide the analysis and report. Thank you, Doug.
Good evening, commissioners. Tonight we're here to have a request for speed humps on Colmar from Loveland to Lubeck. As we know, we have a city policy for speed humps. For any resident that brings in an application for such, this is the guidelines we follow. The speed humps have to be on a local residential street with one lane of travel in each direction. Roadway width is not more than 40 feet. There are no curves that would make it difficult for drivers to see the speed humps. Traffic volumes are between 500 and 3,500 vehicles per day. The speed limit or the prima facie speed limit is 25 miles an hour. The actual 85th percentile of speeds is greater than 25 miles an hour by 8 miles an hour, which is 33 miles an hour. And speed humps should not be on roadways with grades over 6%. In addition, the street should not be a transit route or a primary emergency response route. And at least 51% of the residents along the street need to support the request. So prior to initiating a citizen request for speed humps, we go out and do a traffic study. You obtain traffic counts, volume counts over a 4-day period. When we did that December 8th to December 11th, the 4-day average was 1,361 vehicles per day. And then we did the speed count, and that's in both directions. And then we did a combined speed count or speed profiles in both directions. And we found out that the 85th percentile is 31 miles an hour. The trouble is that it did not exceed the 33 miles an hour. So therefore did not meet that criteria. So what that means, generally, if we're less than 33 miles an hour, it doesn't appear to be a speeding limit with the majority of traffic. So staff's recommendation and the traffic engineer's recommendation to the Traffic and Safety Commission by motion is to deny the request for speed humps at this time because the 85th percentile criteria was not met. And I'll answer any questions that you have.
I have a question, just out of curiosity. The miles per hour threshold of exceeding speed, is that based on the ability of a vehicle to stop properly? would that be considered wise? Like, that would make it a reasonable reason to have a speed hump if it goes above that certain mileage?
It's not as much as that. It is, we, from a traffic engineering standpoint, we follow what the manual and uniform traffic control devices along with the California Vehicle Code. And when we set speed limits for streets other than residentials, we want to keep residential 25 miles an hour, and we do a traffic and speed survey, and we do use the 85th percentile to set the speed limit. If 85% of the cars are doing, let's say, 30 miles an hour on a street segment, that would be the posted speed limit. There'll always be 15% of the population that will exceed the 35 or the 30 miles an hour, but the bulk, 85% on a normal day, will maintain the speed. And so that's the logic behind why we set the 85th percentile at 25 for the 25 mile an hour residential streets, and that maximum speed limit is 33 miles an hour. Which if we had 85 cars or greater over the 85th percentile, then yeah, we have a speeding issue. And we would probably recommend speed humps, but we didn't reach that threshold, so therefore we didn't do that.
Okay, thanks for the explanation.
No problem.
I had a question about the speed survey. If any of the residents on the street happen to recommend another request for speed humps, would we just pull another speed survey, or is there a certain time limit before that can happen again?
We probably at least a minimum of 6 to 9 months, just from the standpoint of giving it some time to readjust. If not, I think our recommendation should be 12. But it depends on the nature of the complaint and how, the politics becomes more involved, and we adjust things accordingly, in all honesty, but it should be at least a year. But sometimes residents will talk to other people and say, what can we do? So at a minimum 6 months. The speed counts aren't that, relatively speaking, speed counts are not that expensive.
Commissioners, can you hear me now? Okay. We will also refer, the police department always gets our Traffic and Safety Commission agenda, and their lieutenant and sergeant team review this and deploy whatever action they think is necessary. So we will follow up with them, as well as a reminder that although the humps could not be installed at this time, that they could continue on with any enforcement efforts. And maybe if they find that maybe at their time of enforcement or monitoring traffic conditions, they see a speeding activity is resulting over the 85th percentile, they can certainly send that information back to us to reevaluate sooner. But we wouldn't bring it to the commission otherwise until maybe 12 months passes, as our city engineer has reported, and we have updated speed counts. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds good. Definitely, I think that area is like the speed concern would be like before school and after school, with the elementary school nearby and the high school just a few blocks away. I don't know if there's a way to see if BGPD can possibly patrol or drive by the area around hours of, after school or playtime, before the sun goes down. And after that, I'm assuming there's less kids on the street that might be crossing. But yeah, if any residents do have concerns, then they could go ahead and bring it up again 6, 9, or 12 months and check on that speed survey again. But I need a motion from the commission.
I first the motion.
I'll go ahead and second.
And this will be a motion to go ahead and take staff's recommendation to deny the request for speed humps for now, since the criteria was not met. If those motions are correct for that. Madam Secretary, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Alvarado,
Yes.
thank you. Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
and Chair Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go on to the next item on the agenda, traffic safety analysis. And Ms. Chavez, can you please give the report?
Yes, good evening once again, Commission. Before you is a request for the installation of speed humps on Fostoria Street between Garfield Avenue and Scout Avenue. And this is a request we're going to ask if the commission can please table to the meeting in March. The reason for that is a resident who initiated the petition request was contacted about attending the meeting and expressed an interest in wanting to be here and provide comments before the commission, but could not make it on such short notice this evening. And I understand he also wanted to possibly invite other residents from Fostoria Street to attend. So we'll give them time as a courtesy to allow them to be here and adjust their schedule, and hopefully they have a chance to address the commission. So we'll move it to the March meeting, and I would ask if you could move that at staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a good plan. Let's go ahead and table this item until the next meeting. And I believe I still need a motion from the commission to table it, or no, we're okay. Okay,
If we can make, since it is on the agenda, if we can, make a motion to formally move it.
make a motion.
okay.
I need a motion from the commission to formally move the item on the agenda to next month's meeting.
Okay, and go ahead, first motion to move this item to next month's meeting.
And I need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. And can I get a roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Alvarado,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
and Chair Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to the last item on the agenda here, traffic safety analysis. And Ms. Chavez, can you please give the report?
Yes, good evening again. This request is for the installation of speed humps on Priam Drive, if I'm saying it correctly, from Foster Bridge Boulevard to Hannon Street. And I will turn that over to our city engineer, Doug Benash again. Thank you, Doug.
No problem. Good evening, commissioners. Again, we have a speed hump request for Priam Drive from Foster Bridge to Hannon. And again, we follow the same criteria as previously stated. Priam is basically a north-south residential street with one lane each direction with a prima facie speed of 25 miles an hour. The street width is 30 feet from curb to curb, allowing the parking lot on both sides. We took traffic counts the same time period between December 8th and December 11th, and we tallied on average 304 cars per day. We did the combined speed profile for the 8th percentile. The 80th percentile speed was the prima facie speed limit of 25 miles an hour, which means that we did not meet that criteria. So the traffic volume being less than, so there's two criteria that were not met on this specific request. One that was the volume and then also the speed. So again, the staff's recommendation to deny request on Priam Drive based on not meeting the criteria of the speed hump policy. And I'll answer any questions.
No questions, but I guess the question, just to confirm, we do deny this speed hump. This will be reported to the police department to do more vigilance in the area.
Correct. Yes, all the items and the results will be shared with the police department to do the same.
A quick question. If there are other like speed deterrents other than the speed humps, just 'cause we had a few of them today that looked like the criteria aren't met, although the residents had asked for it. Is there anything else that we could do other than just patrol, other than speed humps?
There's not much, in the toolbox per se of what, from a traffic engineering standpoint, that would comply with the MUTCD. It's interesting to note that no matter, there might be one or two vehicles, there might be one or two residents that either live just off the block or something in that area that were speeding up and down that is resulting in this. That becomes an enforcement issue for those people to be caught, because those knuckleheads will still be the knuckleheads, or they move out and someone else moves in. Part of human nature from that standpoint. So, and I've had to dealt with this in other jurisdictions, and it's always their neighbors that are doing this, people who live just around the corner that are doing this, and that's the problem. I mean, you put the speed radar trailers in for those that 50% of the population they won't abide by it in today's environment unless we have maximum enforcement to the greater extent. So that's kind of where we're at.
If I can add, Doug, the commission has in the past approved, as you recall, a recommendation to install measures like a speed feedback sign that's permanently mounted on a post in either direction of the street. That has been done when speeding activity has been perhaps verified occurred, but then it doesn't meet the criteria for speed humps, right? Like on Jabonera, we have one coming up for installation that was approved a year or two ago, and that was in the budget. So those are pretty costly. I believe they're maybe about $6,000 to $8,000 each. So we would, if at 12 months we reevaluate the traffic data and counts again for speeding activity, and it could, maybe it's not over the 85th percentile, but it's pretty close, or there's more activity reported by the police department or residents, or even things like collisions, that we could come back and also recommend things like a speed feedback sign. So for however that serves as a deterrent. So
Okay, that sounds great. That's good information. So I know we don't really come across too many speed hump requests that get denied. So it'd be nice to check in, even if it's 9-12 months from now, to just reevaluate the speed. Hopefully, if a resident decides to go ahead and request that again. The only other comment I had is perhaps maybe just making sure speed limit signage is clear on that street. There aren't any like trees or shrubs blocking it. Or I don't know if we have any painted speed limit on the street itself, like when you're entering the street, just as another reminder to hopefully any drivers who are going too fast down the road, that they'll see it right away, that speed limit's 25. Other than that, I don't have any other questions or comments.
I can indicate just one thing for clarification. When it's a local residential street like this one is, we typically do not post or put markings on the street because by the vehicle code, it is 25 miles an hour. So when we wind up adding more maintenance costs over the time of year we add that stuff on every street that's in the town. So that's why we don't do that typically. And if you're joining the collector or you're in a school zone, yes, by means we would, or a special needs facility, something of that nature that would allow, give us a better justification to install those type of markings and signs to reinforce that fact. But just in a local residential street, we typically do not.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion from the commission to go ahead and go with staff's recommendation to deny the request based on volume and speed criteria not met.
I first the motion.
And I need a second.
I'll second.
Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Alvarado,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
and Chair Heredia.
Yes.
Thank you.
And do we have any comments from staff?
Yes, we do. First, I'd like to welcome our newest Commissioner, Hugo Alvarado. Welcome. You made it through your first meeting in record time. Look forward to working with you. And then secondly, hope the commission had a great holiday season and New Year since we last met in December, pre-holidays. So it's nice to see all of you again. I will go over, and I don't believe we've sent it out yet, but we received a memo from our city clerk about changes that are coming up to teleconferencing for commission meetings, any elected body meeting. So this will be, as of March 1st of this year, commissioners will need to attend meetings in person or adhere to the traditional Brown Act teleconferencing requirements. And what that means is that if you wish to participate remotely after March 1st, you can do so under certain rules of the Assembly Bill 2449, which I'm sure you've heard a lot about. So what that means is you can have a maximum of 2 meetings per calendar year that you can attend remotely under a just cause exception, and a maximum of 3 consecutive months or a fifth of our regular, 20% of our regular meetings within the same calendar year to participate under emergency circumstance. So just cause, you can attend twice. Emergency circumstance, you can attend 3 consecutive months, 3 times consecutively max. So, but again, we'll share that, and it's pretty clear. I'm paraphrasing it, but just cause, which applies to the 2 times per year, means you have a childcare or caregiving of an adult or a household family member. You have a contagious illness that would keep you at home. We don't want you to get sick, or you have a need related to physical or mental disability, or you're on travel on official business of the city or for another state or local agency. So very specific just cause criteria. So those are the different scenarios where you can do remote meetings twice per year. For emergency circumstance, it is a physical or family medical emergency that prevents a member from attending a meeting in person. So that is no more than 3 consecutive months of attendance within the year. So we'll circulate it by email, and any questions, please feel free to reach out to us or our city clerk, Daisy Gomez, directly. And just at the start of the commission meeting, we would indicate, we would ask the chair to indicate so-and-so commissioners are joining remotely as allowed by law. And we would track it, and we would let the commissioners. So if you plan to join remotely because you know in advance of the meeting, reach out to us and let us know. And then we can just double check the number of times maybe it's happened before to make sure you're within your right to do that. Or if you've already used the just cause twice already, so you can't. It's new, so we're unclear on what happens if you absolutely have to do it 3 times. I'm not clear on that myself. Does that mean there's some type of penalty or you lose your chair on the commission, right? We can ask those questions when it comes up. But yeah, in the meantime, just reach out, or if you join us here the day of, then we'll make note of that and we'll explain to the chair how we know how to open up the meeting, and you can report on the commissioners attending remotely. We'll follow the lead of the city council meetings because they'll start doing the same on March 1st. So, and secondly, so only the first 2, only 2 members of the commission can telecommute for that same meeting. So if there's 3 of you that happen to want to telecommute for different reasons, exceptions, the first 2 that reached out to say, I need to remote for this reason, those 2 get to participate remotely, and the other person does not. again, new rules, but we'll live and learn by that. So I think that's it on that. And then secondly, or thirdly, I wanted to report, since we last met, the items that the commission had approved for forwarding to city council recommendation and action have actually been installed. So if you go down and you remember the crosswalk on Ajax and Gage Avenue, we had the shark teeth delineation painted on the pavement, and a new signs posted up as well. Very bright, much improved area for visibility of pedestrians. We also installed the 2 speed humps on Perry from Florence Place to Loveland in front of Veterans Park. And the stop sign was also installed on Gotham and Juaneria down there where we had a fire hydrant water line break a couple weeks ago. The red curb also on Garfield and Shoal in front of the mobile home properties, and in front of our yard on Garfield, the yellow loading space and the disabled person parking zone was also installed. And lastly, if you recall, there was a pilot or a first time ever installing an illuminated stop sign in front of Rocio's Moles, is that the name of it, on Garfield and Ira. So it's a blinking LED solar powered stop sign. So that was installed last year sometime. Then we got money to install more of those, focusing around the schools where there's high student pedestrian activity. So we ordered them after the new budget in July, and we had 16 of the signs installed the last couple of weeks all around all the elementary schools. You'll see them up at the adjacent stop signs, and Bell Gardens Intermediate School. So next July with the new budget, we'll finish the Suva Intermediate and Bell Gardens High School zones. So just wanted to share so you can, as you go through your travels, you can check those out. And that is all I have. Oh yes, sorry, I almost forgot. Another big one, Florence Place and Toller in front of El Picante restaurant. We have candlesticks, for lack of a better word, delineation, the white sticks you see out in the median to separate traffic that was coming eastbound from Florence Avenue, and as well as traffic turning from southbound Toller onto Florence Place. So that hopefully has also been a well-received improvement by the neighborhood and the community down there. So thanks to your actions and follow-up. So thank you very much. That is all. Oh, I'll let Veronica explain about the reorganization, which will be scheduled for the March meeting.
Yes, so I just basically wanted to mention that we'll put it on the agenda, that we'll be taking votes so we can nominate a chair and a vice chair for the next commission meeting. So that'll be an item that'll be on there. Thank you.
Okay, sounds great. All of that sounds really good. I did see the illuminated LEDs, stop signs, and they look great. They look bright, simple, but very effective. And I know we've been trying to get something like that in for a couple of years now. So it's great to see a bunch of them pop up now. Do we have any comments from commissioners?
You know what? I did have something. I've seen it for years, but I really didn't know who to speak to. You know, the Bell Gardens sign, I remember when I barely moved here, it used to work many years ago, and I never knew why till now it doesn't work. The main Bell Gardens sign, it's where it kind of shows like, I guess it illuminates, it says like words of like what's going on in the city and stuff. That's pretty much all I had to say.
Commissioner Gavilanes, that's the sign on Florence Place and Toller roughly?
Yeah, I remember many years ago it used to work, and I always wondered about it. I never asked about it until now.
Yeah, I know our city manager's office has been discussing that in the past. I'll get more information for the commission and share that.
That would be wonderful, because I remember before I even got into traffic and safety, I asked about it too, and because I remember it worked back in 2000. And suddenly they just stopped using it. And I was like, I wonder why, you know?
Yeah, it's been brought up before. Yeah, as far as getting it back up and running or replacing it with a new or doing something else, but I'll provide an update to you. Thank you.
That would be wonderful. And I also wanted to welcome Hugo Alvarado to the Traffic and Safety. It's well, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And I hope everybody's doing great. New year. So far, lots of great things happening. For me, like always, I'm so happy to see changes like, what happened, what's going on in front of El Picante. It's wonderful to see those little changes, and they go such a long way, and I do believe that very much. These things that we do, it means a lot to a whole lot of people, and I'm just happy that all of us can really make these changes and make the right changes, and just be very I would say very detailed in the choices we make, because they go a long way to so many people, and yeah, so far everything looks great. I see so many changes in the city, and it looks wonderful. That's all I have to say.
I agree, Commissioner. Thank you.
And then for me, it's the same. It's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back with the rest of you. Welcome, Hugo, to our commission. I look forward to working with you and to be able to do great things together. And then on that note, alluding to what Jason was saying, I appreciate Director Chavez's updates on the commissions. It's great to know that things are changing and then we're doing something positive for the community. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's all teamwork. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more comments from commissioners, I'll go ahead and welcome Commissioner Alvarado as well. But we can go ahead and adjourn this meeting to the next scheduled meeting, and this will be March 7th, 2023. And this meeting is now closed at 6:10 p.m. Thank you.
Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.